Jelmer here. In this video I'm gonna make a stand for a vacuum. I'm gonna use 2x4 plywood and any other materials that I can find. So yeah, in all honesty, this is one of those projects that never really quite gets done. I don't think it's gonna take a ton of time, but it's one of those things that it would be nice. You can't really find it in the store, and that's why I was like, I gotta make it, and I'm gonna do that today. So let me walk you through the situation. So our vacuum is quite old. It used to have something that could attach to the vacuum itself, but the piece broke off, and yeah, the thing still works, but yeah, like this I can have it standing on my foldable workbench, but it's not attached at all. So if I hold this, you know, it can just move. So I want to make something of plywood that can fit over the vacuum, and that's gonna rest on the foot right here. So it's a pretty basic idea, and I don't think it's gonna take a ton of time. What I will be using is some old plywood that I have right here, and I think I will sand it down heavily so it comes out nice and smooth. So I'm basically checking for a number of things, like let it lean a little bit. Okay. It's leaning forward a little bit, so I'm basically checking for a number of things. Like I want it to be a bit over this side of the vacuum, because then the plywood will keep itself in place. Plus I also want there to be some plywood to the back here. So that seems to work pretty okay. So what I'm gonna do next is I will try to trace the shape of the vacuum. So I'll do this by hand, and I'll just keep the pencil as straight as possible and just move it over it, because then it can hang over this part here. Now, and also I wanted to be straight up, because in the end, you know, everything needs to be a bit squared as well. So that's what I'm gonna start with here. So I'm just using my pencil. I'm trying to keep it as straight as I can and following the shape of the vacuum, basically. Okay. Now, it looks a bit gnarly, but I think this might be a good starting point. Now, I want to double check and triple check, so I'm gonna use my carpenter square to make sure that this actually is 90 degrees. It looks like it, but I just want to make sure. Now, it's almost 90 degrees, not fully. But I'm just gonna carry this one straight down, because I have a feeling that if anything, more wood needs to come off. Now, this plywood is pretty strong, but I want to see if I can take this part out of it 2 times. So I'm gonna measure the length and see if how much space will be left over here on top. Now, this is once again one of the old pieces of plywood that was left over from the construction of some pillars. It looks a bit rough here, but this part is gonna come off, so that's no problem there. So the width of this plywood is 30 centimeters or 1 feet, and the length of this piece is 89 centimeters or almost 3 feet. It's not exact. Okay. So I wanted to know this length. So this is 89. So that means at 44.5 I can make the marking here. And I'm glad about this, because that means that on top here there will be some space left, and that's needed to get the rigidity on top. So I'm gonna start with one side, and then once that one fits well, I can just trace that onto this side here and repeat the process. So I was gonna use my carpenter square as a guide, but you can see that it's off. Like below here, it's 39 millimeters, and on top here, it's 41 millimeters. So it really ain't straight. So I'm just gonna freestyle it to the best of my abilities. I think it's okay, since it's an object for in the house, and it's completely utilitarian. Plus the line, it wasn't straight to begin with. Now next up, I'll just follow the line to the best of my abilities with the jigsaw. I cannot use the circle saw because this rough piece here. So this is the piece I want. Alright, let's see how it fits over the vacuum. Okay. There's just a bit of play, oh boy. The arc here on this side, it's perfect, but this one, it's too high, it should have gone lower down. So I wanted to measure this distance here, but then I realized that on the foot of the vacuum, there's a piece of plastic sticking out that is not functional anymore. So that needs to go. So this here is the piece of plastic that's sticking out. It can go because in our house we only have tiles. So some time ago I put a few screws on this side because it wasn't staying in place. So this is no longer functional, so I'm gonna cut it off. Alright, so now I'm gonna go back to the measurement. So I have it positioned in the middle, and it looks like 48 millimeters needs to come off. Okay, so we try again, and this time around, now this is what I was looking for. This is more like it. It follows the shape of the vacuum, and it's a pretty firm fit. It's not firm, but it's definitely close enough. And if I have another piece on this side, it's gonna stay in place for sure. So I will trace this piece onto the other half of the plywood. Alright, so this needs to be cut out. Right. So now I'm thinking, like, how can I keep these two pieces in place? Because there needs to be something to the back here, so the metal doesn't fall back, and it needs to be able to be put into position. I think I can really simplify this, because if I just put a piece of wood here, that's gonna do everything. Like, because then the piece here is still open, so I can slide it in place, and it should provide the rigidity that's needed to actually do this properly. And added bonus, I can even just use one of the pieces that is left over. It's not gonna cover the entire length, but for strength purposes, that's not even necessary. And I'm just gonna trace it alongside here. There's an old line of something else here. So I'll cut off this very small piece here, because that seems to be a very straight line. And then I will use this line as a reference point to make sure that this line is also gonna be straight. Now next up I want to make sure that this distance is the same all over. So I'm gonna double check to see whether that's actually going on. 95, 96, 96, okay. That's actually not too bad, but I would prefer it if it's really the same, so I'll just mark it like so, and then that will be a good reference. I make this movement to make sure that I'm not gonna cut into the workmate. Now I really want to pre-drill the wood, because from experience I know that even though it's plywood, it can still split. Not so much when you drill into it like this, but when you drill into it from this side, it can definitely split. So I want to avoid that. So to easily find the middle, I will place this flush against the edge, so you can see the full thickness here. And I'm just gonna make like a line, and I'll repeat it for this side. Now, and I got a couple of 2-inch screws, which should be plenty strong. So I think I only need like 4 screws to keep this whole thing in place. This length is 32. So, yeah. I'll put it 5 from the top here, and then at 5 from the bottom. So it's 27 here. So you can see here, this is the middle here. Middle here, and I really like it if screws are at the same position, so I'll just use my carpenter square to make sure that it gets in the exact same spot. Now, and since it's a really small project, I'm just gonna keep it in place by hand. So I'll hold the drill like so. I look from all angles to make sure that it's going straight down. Okay, and then I drive in the screw one time while I have it in place. I will not fully secure it yet, so there's some flexibility on this side. I'll repeat the drilling. I want it just below the surface, because I intend to sand it heavily, so it comes out way nicer. Okay. Okay, so just repeat on the other side. Alright, the moment of truth to see if this is actually gonna work. Vacuum and the holder. Okay, let's see how it looks. It's not yet what I want. It's almost there, but not fully, because there's a bit too much play for my taste. So I will have to do something about that still. So I think the way to make it a bit more stable is to have a piece below here that keeps it from moving like so. So I'm just gonna measure the width of the foot, like so here, and I'll just cut it off quickly. So to increase the precision, I will measure the middle of this piece here, which is at 5 centimeters. So the length of this piece is 25.5, so at 12.8 is the middle of this piece. And now I can just position it like so, line up these two pieces, and it's nicely in the middle. Alright, it's not perfect, but I think it's better than without it. So I would say this is gonna be another version 1.0. I will do a heavy sanding, and that's gonna make it look at least much nicer. So the vacuum holder stand, whatever you want to call it, it's finished. It took me about an hour to build. Looking back, I wish I had this line going down further, because that would make it a bit more sturdier, but as it is, it's way better than it currently was, because we just had it laying around loosely, but now, you know, it's kept better in place. Yeah, I consider this another version 1.0. It seems to be like a theme on this channel. I think it's good. I mean, that's life, right? Like you iterate on one thing to the next. I had a lot of fun building this, because I really like to build like this. Like I have an idea in mind, and then I just figure things out along the way, and then I come up with something. And as always, I like to build with speed, style and strength, and that's really what I did here as well, because I wanted to do this in about an hour, and that's pretty much how much time it took. So if you got your vacuum laying around, now you know how to fix it. Yeah boy, I'm gonna clean it off with some water to take off the fine dust, and then it can go right into the house. First time trying out the workbench, and it makes a huge difference. It's much higher than the workmat, and it just works nicer. Plus I have more space. And I'm still using the old workmat.